Whoa, are you kidding me? I never expected this, guys. This is one piece of news I never expected. As a matter of fact, is a friend of mine who lives in the Caribbean sent me a link with this kind of breaking news. This is shocking to me. I mean, we should not be surprised about anything these days because, when it comes to shareholders and that kind of stuff, it's all about the bottom line. But Sony and TCL joining hands, crazy. I never expected that. I mean, I have seen, mergers in the business, in the audio video sphere before where, I think right now, many of the big brands are under Sound United. Sound United has some, affiliation to Samsung and that kind of stuff. These things have happened before. But for a storied Japanese brand like Sony, joining hands with TCL, this was unexpected. It was unexpected for me. And I still can't wrap my head around it. So what I have learned so far, based on all the news reports that I've seen, is that Sony and TCL has entered into a memorandum of understanding. Let's put it that way, a memorandum of understanding. Nothing is written in stone yet. This understanding or this agreement it's expected that the agreement will be signed by the end of March. At this point, we see no reason why it should not go through. But in the agreement, TCL will, get 51% of Sony's business. That's the TV and audio business, and Sony will retain 49% of the business. So of course, TCL is going to have, the controlling interest, so to speak, in the Sony business. Whoa, never saw that coming. Let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. So what will TCL get? Just digging a little bit deeper now. What will TCL get out of this deal? Of course, TCL is going to get Sony's high-quality picture and sound technology. I'm assuming that is what's going to happen. TCL is going to get Sony's high-quality picture and technology. They will also get, that kind of a brand recognition, that brand value recognition, if you know what I mean. Because Sony is a name that is synonymous with quality. It's a name that is recognized worldwide. So that's good for TCL. But on the other hand, what does Sony get? They will get TCL's advanced display technology, because from what I've learned, Sony does not, in many cases, does not make their own panels. Now, most manufacturers do not display who they sell their panels to, but we know that LG is a big manufacturer of display panels. Samsung is a big manufacturer of display technology. And of course, TCL has been stepping up their game over the last couple of years. So, so Sony will get, TCL advanced display technology. They will also get TCL's global scale advantage, because, in my opinion, TCL is a more widespread. Can I use the word widespread? It's a more global brand than Sony. I'm talking about what I'm trying to say, because it's a less expensive brand. Is what's the right word? It's a lower value brand at this point. It is sold at a more wider scale throughout the world. It's more affordable, and so they will get TCL's global scale advantages. Not only that, TCL manufacturing, they have end-to-end production. They do everything. They do everything for themselves. They make, they produce all their technologies. The main technologies. That's what I'm saying when it comes to manufacturing. So they manufacture their displays. They they have their own factories. So what I'm trying to say, they have an end-to-end production, in terms of manufacturing, where, most of their stuff are designed designed and manufactured under TCL, whereas Sony took parts from different manufacturers, and I referred to panels earlier, so there you go. So Sony will get that, right? So as it is right now, the deal is not yet signed. It is still something that is being worked on. Nothing is written in stone yet, and so it has to be approved. It has to be approved. So I see no reason though why something like this would not be approved, to be honest with you. But what are your thoughts on something, on a deal like this? What's your thought on this kind of merger here, where TCL gets 51% of Sony, and now being the controlling shareholder or the controlling interest in the Sony brand? What's your take on it? Sony will retain a 49% controlling interest. Honestly, I never saw this coming, like I mentioned earlier. For me personally, and my thoughts, this could mean, for the consumer like myself, well, full disclosure, at this moment, I do not own anything from Sony. The last Sony product I owned was a 4K Blu-ray player. I think it's the X700, which I sold, and I wonder, why did I sell it? Because I ended up buying another one from another brand. But what I'm saying though is that, this kind of merger would probably lead to, TCL putting out more advanced technology. One of the things that Sony is synonymous for is not so much their display technology, is their picture processing. The picture processing, the SOC, what goes on under the hood, the way the processing of the image is being done, the kind of processing engine that they have in their TVs, And so the question has been asked, or the question has been floating around recently: will TCL get to acquire or get to use some of that tech, or will Sony hold on to that? I don't know. These are questions. Will TCL get full advantage of all of Sony's technology? Will TCL be allowed to use some of this tech in their lower brand or lower value? Should I say lower brand or lower value? But they're more budget value. That's what I'm saying. More budget value TVs. These are questions. That I think a lot of people will have. But in any case, though, I think, this merger, if it does happen, if it does get approved, will be good for the consumer in some, in some ways. I think over time, Sony's tech will definitely trickle down into TCL's sets. And, TCL has been stepping up their game. I mentioned that earlier, that they have become a a standout performer, if I can say that, as it relates to to panel displays. This Chinese brand has really improved over the years. So they're no laggard. So they're not a laggard in the TV space. So combining their display technologies with Sony processing, and if they get to use some of those processing tech in their televisions, then I think it will be a win-win for many of the consumers, or should I say us consumers out here. Now, I don't know whether or not Sony will just give TCL the freedom to put the Sony or the Bravia brand on their products without any kind of oversight, to be honest, because it wouldn't be fair, at least for me as a consumer, to get something with a Sony or Bravia brand on it which does not live up to that kind of value, that kind of performance that we are so accustomed to from Sony. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't think Sony is gonna just step away and just allow TCL to slap the Bravia or the Sony brand on any product without a little bit of input or oversight, so to speak. Even though they have the less of the controlling interest in the company when the merger does happen, because no one would want a watered down Sony product. You understand? So let's hope that the quality of the products will remain at a high level. Let's hope that the quality and the standard that we're accustomed to from Sony will remain at that level. So yes, so this kind of caught me off guard. I mean, I've seen mergers here and there. I have seen companies coming together, but for a storied brand, I mean, when you think about Sony has been like the benchmark when it comes to TV technology. I mean, when I was growing up, and you hear of somebody who owns a Sony TV, whoa, it's you have to do a double take. I worked in a production house once, a media production house, and all their production monitors, that is used for evaluating video and other images, were Sony. So Sony is Sony has been a trusted name all these years. Sony is synonymous with quality and reliability. So what was I saying? So when I heard that when this came across that Sony and TCL are joining hands, Japanese and a Chinese company are going to join hands. Not that anything is wrong with TCL, I'm just saying TCL is a more value brand compared to Sony, which is a more upscale brand, so to speak. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is a match made in heaven? Do you think there'll be a lot of value for the consumer in this merger? What are your thoughts? Was this something that you saw coming? I mean, if it was in the news, if there was any rumor in the news, I never got that. But anyway, I just thought I'd make this video this morning just to kind of give my thoughts on this whole merger. and what it might mean for us, the consumer. And I'm just wondering whether all the tech from Sony will get to trickle down into the TCL brand. And yeah, so what are your thoughts? Let me hear in the comments. So thank you so much for watching. I just thought I would just put this little video together quickly and get your thoughts and your reactions on this merger, or this, what should I say, impending or upcoming merger. So let me get some feedbacks in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. You have a great day now, and you take care of yourself. All right.